Why did the motorcycle ride to Minnesota? To see if the lakes were really great or just wheelie good.
Oh. Really good.
Hello and welcome to Best Motorcycle Roads. I'm Tom.
And I'm Todd. We have over 65 years of combined motorcycling experience and 30 years of planning and riding motorcycle trips. We're here to share with you everything we've learned over those years.
Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is simple. Make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. We'll dive into technology, planning, packing, routes, and everything in between.
From essential prep to unforgettable routes, we've got you covered.
Before we kickstart today's journey, we ask you to sign up for our BMR Rider Alerts. It's our way of keeping you in the loop with the latest rides, tips, and stories. We promise no spam, only the essentials to enhance your motorcycle adventures. Join the BMR crew today. We'll put a link in the show notes. This segment about motorcycle gear reviews and tips we call the Toolkit. In the Toolkit, a little bit something different.
Okay.
Going a little off script. I'm thinking... Because I was thinking about the trip that we're planning in the future, and just sometimes we don't remember everything. So I'm suggesting a Notepad, voice recorder, something to just jot down notes once in a while on the trip.
Great.
I'd really like to get into the habit of writing down like the miles, not because I care about like that, but it would be really nice to have like a well-archived thing. So I'm suggesting a Notepad, voice recorder. At the end of the day, maybe just, hey, it was a good day, it was a bad day, it was rainy, it wasn't rainy. I mean, I don't know. How many miles that day, anything quirky that happened, just those little things.
I like that. And if I saw something or did something along the way, hey, here's a place we want to come back to. Let's check this next time. Or, hey, we don't need to go see Paul Bunyan again. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Well, I don't know. Whatever it might be.
I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, like even little restaurants, sometimes it's nice. These places sometimes are remote. They don't get a whole lot of traffic. It's good to put a good review in, to put a good note, in. If you see somebody going there, tell them to go back. But yeah, I think it's just something to be a little bit better. Maybe we're recollecting more since we're doing this podcast. But man, some of the things that I wish I remembered, we've been using Google Timeline sometimes, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. RideWise is the section we focus on planning and safety tips. For today's RideWise, our episode is about Minnesota roads, so I wanted to talk just briefly about deer safety and wildlife. But deer are a major hazard on Minnesota roads, especially dusk and dawn. Stay alert. Constantly scan the ditches. If you're not used to riding, in places in the Midwest like this, you really got to watch the ditches and use your high beams like all the time, unless there's oncoming cars.
Sure.
But, watch for that, because they will not only jump out in front of you, they'll run into the side of you, and you know all about hitting a deer with a motorcycle.
Not good.
One other, like a quick hidden gem I want to talk about is the Caledonia Road.
Okay.
Known as County Road 362. I think it's Highway 44 if you go on Google Maps.
Okay.
It goes from Caledonia, which I like saying anyway, to La Crescent. So if I was coming from Iowa, I'd go up Highway 52 from where I'm at, and then cross into Minnesota, then get on to 44, pass through Maple and Spring Grove. But the terrain on the Caledonia Road, it's only 23 miles or so to La Crescent, but twists and turns, and it's rolling hills. It's beautiful. You get to, real glimpse of a simpler life in Minnesota, wooded areas and things like that. The Caledonia Road is actually pretty well maintained. It's an asphalt road, of course, but because it's, they get harsh winters. Yeah. Remember in the spring, watch for potholes and any, heaves in the pavement. And, the snowplows will throw some gravel up there. So just pay attention to that. But, enjoy Caledonia Road if you have a chance to ride there. Southeast Minnesota.
The next segment is what we call the mile marker. It's our story segment. All right. Part 6 of the 6-pod series, talking best roads in the Midwest. We're touching the last of our states. Top 5 motorcycle roads in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, Todd. I have counted some of them, not all. Let's start with number 5. So this one is Highway 38, 47-mile drive through Chippewa National Forest. So that's up in the kind of north middle. Grand Rapids, Marcel, Effie. Bigfort State Park is up there. If you're into kind of the music theater things, Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids. And then just kind of some great roads to get lost on. A lot of lakes, of course, as we know. You know, the funny thing about Minnesota is there's not as many roads as other states just because there's so dang many lakes. But there are some places you can get lost around there. Coming in at number 4 is the North Shore Scenic Drive. This is Highway 61. So this is really like either Grand Portage to Duluth or Duluth to Grand Portage. You know, you're talking about lighthouses. There's a state park, Gooseberry Falls State Park. Grand Marais is kind of at the top of this, but really like stop at Split Rock Lighthouse. That is quite the look. We always like Betty's Pies and Two Harbors. You know, it's just a fun place. Not always fun to park your motorcycle there because there's like the elevation of the parking lot is out of control. Yeah. But yeah, really a nice spot on the North Shore. Complete opposite of that is Scenic Byway number 7, Root River Trail. So that's really not too far from us here in Iowa. On the south side of Minnesota, southeast side, lots of rolling hills, river valleys. You may have heard of Lanesboro, Harmony, and then this is all around the Root River. Yeah. A lot of bicycling trails around there too. Of late, they've taken and converted some of the railroad places to that. So you'll see that there actually is a cave, Niagara Cave in Harmony. Again, all the roads are on the Root River. And then Lanesboro has a lot of kind of quirky little restaurants because of it's a camping town, it's a bicycling town, and then there's a lot of roads to ride, motorcycles as well. So a High Point Pub and Pedal Pushers Cafe, 2 options. I think Pedal Pushers Cafe is kind of the day lunch spot, and then the High Point Pub is the evening spot. So, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Great River Road. That's number 2 in Minnesota. So you can kind of take that Mississippi River from Twin Cities all the way back down to Iowa. Red Wing, Lake City, Wabasha. So you have the National Eagle Center in Wabasha. So all along the Mississippi River, of course, is like tons of eagles. They've kind of been repopulating them for quite a few years now, and really, you see a lot of eagles now, and it's pretty cool. Especially, I don't know if you've ever seen an eagle take a fish out of like the lake or the river, but man, they just come.
Just on videos.
Oh my
I haven't
gosh.
seen it happen live.
So we also have St. James Hotel in Red Wing. Have you been to that?
I've had drinks in
the it's
St.
a cool
James.
little place, isn't it?
Yeah, I lived across the street from it in an apartment for a year.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a historic
very
hotel,
historic,
right?
Yeah. It's neat. In fact, my brother-in-law, I think, worked there for a little while. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the Eagle View Bar is Minnesota, Minnesota. And then lastly, this one's kind of a tough one. I mean, I think Great River Road's really good, but there's this 57-mile byway way up north they call the Gunflint Trail. 57, it runs from Grand Marais all the way up to Boundary Waters. And if you haven't heard of Boundary Waters, just do some research on that. It's you boat out to the island and tons of Boy Scout camping, that kind of thing happens.
When you say boat out, you canoe out, right?
You actually boat. I think they take you by boat.
Oh, gotcha.
To the island. Then I think you boat from there. Then you canoe.
Canoe from there. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little ways. You wouldn't want to. I don't think because you get out there. I mean, it's in Lake Michigan or Superior, so I don't think you'd want to be able to. I don't think you could canoe to it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But Chippewa Museum is up in that area. There's a nature center, and then also the Blue Water Cafe in Grand Marais is quite a place. But Minnesota I don't know that these are actually other rides, but I have kind of 2 bonuses that I want to throw in there. And we've been to one of the 2. The Paul Bunyan Scenic Byway is a 54-mile loop through the Bernard Lakes area. Paul Bunyan Land, and then
Brainerd. I think Brainerd.
Brainerd. Did I say?
You said Bernard. Brainerd.
Both places. Both.
Right.
No, Brainerd. Yes, thank you. Just tons of lakes up there to go see. You can't not hit the big statue of Paul Bunyan in blue. And then just the Brainerd Lakes area is just quite amazing once you get up there. It's just it's kind of a different world, really. And then lastly, the triple bonus maybe area here is Lake Itasca. That's the start of the Mississippi River. So what's kind of cool about that is there's a webcam up there. So if you get up there, you can actually it's just a rocky path that you can actually cross the Mississippi River, like walking over rocks. Really? Yeah. And then there's a webcam on all the time, so you can see, someone maybe can record you or something. You should try taking your Goldwing across it.
All right.
I think it'd be fun. I think you park in a parking lot and there's a small walk.
Okay.
But that's something that'd be cool to do, especially like if we were I always thought it'd be cool to start there and then ride all the way down to New Orleans and then beyond until they kind of follow the Mississippi River from start to bottom.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool
cool
ride. But yeah, if you do find yourself in this area, I would say take the time to walk across, or to maybe have somebody watch the webcam when you're out there.
Yeah. Up in Minnesota, there's one place that you always have to go and eat, right? Zorba's. They're all over the place.
They are all over the place.
But fantastic. Great food. I know my daughter used to tell me about Zorba's all the time, and my wife's kids did, and so we stopped at a Zorba's on our...
I guess I would call Zorba's, I don't know, like a Margaritaville maybe? I don't know. Like it's a fun bar restaurant.
Right. Just a unique atmosphere. And
I think a lot of them are built, in Minnesota, around the water.
Right. They have
it seems like there's always a dock.
Yep, there's always a dock, indoor, outdoor, seating. There's usually some volleyball. And
then like big tables, like sometimes community style tables too, if I'm understanding it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're kind of a little bit of everything, aren't they? Pizza, pasta.
Yeah. No, I remember it being a very large menu.
Yeah.
And, just a fun place. Music playing all the time. Like a Margaritaville, like you said. Yeah. It's kind of that outdoor beachy vibe. And,
yeah. People were nice. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yep.
Yeah. The podcast can be found on bestmotorcycleroads.com/podcast. All the information you need will be there. But you can subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, Pocket Casts, and YouTube.
This is the interactive segment. We will be looking for input from you. We want you to send us your questions and suggestions for roads, topics, and anything else you have on your mind. Today's Roadside Q&A comes from Chris. And again, I picked Chris's question because we're talking about Minnesota.
Yeah.
So he was asking about hidden gems in Minnesota that offer, unique riding experiences depending on the seasons, scenic overlooks, anything like that, and fall foliage. So that got me thinking. Best places probably between like Grand Rapids and Ely.
Okay.
Highway 169. That's a real thick forest in that area. So you'll really see like the blazing red, orange, yellow, and there's lots and lots of overlooks along that route as well, and panoramic views. It's about 105 or 108 miles. So plan on almost 2 hours, hour and 50 minutes, something like that. And, take your time and, have your camera with. It's some great riding in there. And just, if you want to do it, check the leaf, they always do that on the news. Or you can find websites to say when the leaves are at their very best colors.
Sure.
And check it. And, Highway 169, Grand Rapids and to Ely. It's amazing.
I know Brad used to go to Canada fishing a lot, and he always wanted to ride up to International Falls.
Oh, really?
So International Falls is pretty much the northernmost city in the U.S., Minnesota in the U.S. But,
okay.
I think he looked at it a few times and changed his mind because, from Minneapolis, it's almost a 5-hour drive.
No kidding.
North.
Wow.
And I just don't think there's a lot there. But it would be cool if you were kind of thinking that to go all, I mean, it's just almost due north of Minneapolis, but for 5 hours. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a common place that people come and go from Canada.
I see it now.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun too. I think it's a different world when you get up there. I mean, you start to get out of the. I think you get into pine tree land up there.
Yeah.
Instead of leaved trees. So yeah, I mean, I think it could be interesting. I don't know how exciting it would be. I think it's a pretty. We'd have to have some music, maybe.
So I could make us a playlist.
We need a
or something
playlist
for that.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe a full-on DJ.
That sounds good. I've never looked up there.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now.
sure.
Rainier.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a Falls International Airport up there as well.
Well, I mean, I guess we could fly in. That's an option.
Windy Point. I want to go over to Shasha Resort. Is what I'm saying here.
You never know, but yeah. So just kind of interesting when you think about all the different places that you can go, and it's just a different part of Minnesota. Minnesota has quite a vast. When you think of the
really does, yeah.
southeast corner to the northwest corner, big and also different.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, with all the lakes,
Oh gosh,
it can be hard to get around. Like there's no
I
straight
can see
paths.
where I want to go, but I can't get there from here.
Can't get there from here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now it's time for the last mile. It's where we recap today's episode and kind of share what we liked. What are you thinking, Todd?
Well, I'm thinking about, Minnesota, the weather they have, it shifts quickly. I'm thinking like we talked about for Michigan, like make sure you've got your rain gear, think of wind, think of fog, think of, all kinds of stuff. And if you know of other hidden gems, roads to ride in Minnesota, let us know.
Please.
Leave some notes in the comments. We'd like to talk about it or, share it on social media. We'd like to talk about those. But Minnesota is a great place to ride. There's lots of views with the lakes.
Not as much cheese as Wisconsin.
Not nearly as much cheese.
But still good.
Yeah, wonderful riding up there.
Yeah, for me, I would say, honestly, like that Gunflint Trail area and the 61 north of Duluth. I think last year in 23, we rode through there. And when you kind of come out and you get from kind of what I would call inner Minnesota to that lake's edge, sometimes I'm just like, this is wild, man. Like, I haven't been to the West Coast and seen the Pacific Northwest. And I know that Minnesota's not going to be big, but it's shocking, like the bluffs and the there's a couple tunneled through the rocks.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Like sometimes in
the Midwest, right?
Right in the Midwest.
Yeah.
There's nobody farming corn up by that area. It's just, you're just going up and down these just bluffs and I don't know if they even call those bluffs, but wow, I just remember we were coming in, I think it was before Two Harbors, north of Two Harbors. Just what a ride. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. It surprises me every time we go there and I forget every time. Right. Like you go back and you're like, oh, like how can I be surprised again? But
I know.
I even forget there's that tunnel through the rock, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's where this is. I remember that ride sometimes. And I always think it's in Colorado or something. I've never rode a motorcycle in Colorado. So
I know that's got to be on our bucket list too, is ride Colorado.
Yeah. If this episode revved up your day, don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share it with your crew. We're all about the thrill of the ride and the bond it creates.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads, the stories ride forever. Take care.